Hey, it's Rebecca Undum, founder of RebeccaUndum.com and author of How Mommy Got Her Groove Back. Happy holidays! I don't know about you. I typically am one of those, keep the Christmas stuff up through New Year's Day kind of people, and I think I'm taking it down tomorrow. I don't know. I guess I'm ready to say goodbye to 2016. Learned a lot. Thanks for the lessons. But I'm waiting to see what the next man has for me, and that's 2017. I just feel ready. And so yesterday I held a webinar. It was based on my book. It was a live book discussion. And this particular topic, it came up in a sideline conversation, and I know that it's just something, this is one of those topics that I think a lot of people experience, and we don't do a great job of actually addressing it or talking about it. So today I want to share some thoughts and tips about how to work with what we perceive to be an unsupportive spouse. So 2017 starting, a lot of us will be recommitting to maybe a business that we've been involved in. It could be a side hustle. It could be a full-time gig. It could be that we want to make a shift. Maybe we work full-time for somebody. We want to make a shift to scale back, or we want to make a shift to scale up. It just depends. But with any of those career changes, if we have a spouse in the picture and children with that spouse, that person's got to be on board. And I think there are times I've seen in just threads on social media and discussions that people have had about this, where people have said things like, well, screw him. I'm going to do it anyway. I genuinely do not advocate for that. I think the battle that you're going to face every single day to try and win your spouse over when you could just work through some of the struggles up front, well, it will save you so much time. The struggle to work every single day, working to prove your spouse wrong, it takes away some of the real reason you're doing the business, or you're pursuing whatever it is you're pursuing. And I think I just don't think it's advisable to do something knowing full well your spouse isn't on board. So what do? Here's a few ideas, okay? Some of this is just mindset stuff, but it's really important. So the first thing is, and I made notes for you. The first thing is to try not to take it personally. Your spouse is not you. And I know that's well, obviously. But we don't remember that when we get to this point where we're embroiled in a hot battle about how awesome this thing is that we want to pursue, and your spouse is staunchly standing over there looking at you like you're an idiot. Okay? Try not to take it personally, because they don't actually think you're an idiot. They have questions. They have unresolved issues with whatever it is that you're proposing. So the first thing is to try and separate yourself from the feelings that they have about it, and recognize that this isn't straight out a reflection of you. And it might be. We're going to get to this in question 2. But truly, it's not because they don't believe in you. It's because they have questions that have not been answered. So the first thing, do not take it personally. The second is to ask more questions. Spouses are notorious. We're really good at making assumptions. We say things to ourselves like, well, I know what he's going to say. And I know what he's thinking. No, you don't. You don't. You have to ask them what they're thinking, what they're struggling with, and try to withhold judgment as you listen to their responses. They have a right to feel how they feel. And again, if you remember that the whole point of this initial discussion is to get them to a comfort level with you proceeding that every single day, their doubts don't become yours. It's worth having the discussion. So ask more questions. Say, in what way? Tell me more about that. What's really at the heart of that? That's what you're trying to get down to, is what their true objections are. Third, if you've had all of that, you've had all this discussion, you feel like you've answered every plausible thing, if they still aren't sure, just simply ask for a chance. Now, this is not you asking for permission if you're a woman and you're listening to this. It's not about asking permission, but it is about getting them to a place where they're not going to energetically hold you back, because it will have an effect on you if you know that your spouse doesn't believe in you or support you in what you're doing. So ask for a chance. Simply ask the question, What would I have to do for you or accomplish in this business or with this endeavor for you to be okay with it? Find out kind of what their minimum expectations are and ask yourself, is it worth pursuing for that? Can I do that? Do I feel confident enough in myself to do that? Get your spouse on board. The fourth thing is that you got to remember that you're in this together. If you are married, and this is where, for me, conventional advice for entrepreneurs just kind of sucks. Like, it's not just about following your passion. You are married. And if you're married and you have commitment and you've said vows to another person, their feelings, desires, wants, they matter. So today, I want to encourage you that if you are finding yourself running up against that brick wall and that brick wall is your spouse, take a step back, remove your pride. Don't take it personally. Ask them lots of questions and find out what their bottom line is. I hate to say this, it feels a lot like a sales conversation, because it kind of is. But you're not trying to sell them. You are trying to understand what they really feel, what they really need, what they're really concerned about. And if at the end of the day you find all of those answers out and you guys are still at an impasse, I am not the person to answer this question. I've had people say, should you leave a spouse? Good grief. I don't know if you should leave your spouse, and I'm not going there. That is a question for a different day, for a different person. But I'm telling you that for the most part, our spouses believe in us on the whole, on average. Our spouses believe in us. They want what's best for us. And our success equals their success. So the only reason they're struggling is because, and you got to get real about this. So when you ask questions, that part of asking questions, what about your previous behavior or your previous endeavors have made them believe or question whether you can see it through? Because let's be real, I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur in the sense that, like, I shiny objects and I'm like after it. My husband knows this about me. He has every right to question if I can see something through. And just because it makes me angry and I get a little pissy about it doesn't mean he's wrong. So try to come at this from the standpoint that you know you're flawed. You know that there are things, and if they bring them up, don't get angry about it. Listen for the kernel of truth and try to talk it through with your spouse. That's the kind of conversation that I think we need to have. We can't just ignore it and pretend it'll go away. If you want to do it and you want to prove them wrong, that's totally on you. But I can just speak from experience when I tell you that when I tell my husband I'm struggling, that's when his most supportive self comes out. If I try to blow smoke in his face and say everything's great and we're doing awesome, he can see right through that. And I shouldn't be trying to blow smoke in my husband's face. We're a team. Even if he's not daily in this business with me, my dog is here more than my husband when it comes to this business. He's my team. He is my teammate. He's my partner, and we can't shut him out. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Of course, questions, comments, throw them at me. But we've got to make sure we protect that very important relationship, especially if there's kids involved. So with that, groove on, everybody. Happy New Year, and I will catch you soon.